Okay, so in this question, we need to be able to understand what an external code source is, why you might want to use it, why it could be a good thing, why it could be a bad thing. So for example, we've got a programmer who's making a website for a shopping company, and he's using some code from an external source to create the input fields on a form. So why might be a good thing, why might be a bad thing. 2 marks for each. You can write anything sensible for a possible advantage, anything sensible for possible disadvantages. So we're looking for 2 advantages, 2 disadvantages. So let's go through possible advantages. First of all, what is an external source of code? It's basically some code that's written by somebody else that you can import into your project, into your program. So if it's a website, the most common external code source might be something like jQuery, which is a library that speeds up writing your HTML and JavaScript code. And it allows you to save time when you're writing your website. So external code source might save you time because somebody else has already written all the features. You can just plug that library in and use less of your code to do more useful stuff. It might give you access to more advanced features, so there might be a library out there that lets you do things that you don't know how to write yourself. So by plugging in that library, you can get your code to do more useful stuff. In this example, he's using external source to create the input fields on a form. You might use a library to be able to make it look prettier. So you might have fancier looking input boxes. And any 2 of those or any other sensible suggestion will get you your 2 marks. There are plenty of problems with using external code sources. One might be there might be bugs in that external code source, so either something that's not been implemented yet that you need to use, or something that's been partially done but not completely done, or something with an error in so it fails when it tries to do it, or importantly there might be a security error, so someone might be able to hack into your site if you use the external code source. There might be a security vulnerability in there, and that does happen surprisingly often. The code may not be maintained in the future, so somebody makes a really fancy library, it works for a couple of years, but then the person forgets about it, maybe gets a new job or finds another hobby. That code that you're using falls into disrepair, and it falls to you to either replace the library or update the library yourself. It's a bad thing. The code might not be well documented, so it might do loads of fancy stuff, but it's hard to work out how to make it do that. That's often a big problem because programmers don't like writing comments and documentation. This is worth thinking about. The code might do more than you need it to, so it might be really bloated. In this example, that's quite common. Often people use something like jQuery, an external code source, for just one feature, whereas the library itself can do loads of really important and powerful stuff, but you don't need all of that functionality. And because you're importing this code library, it increases the load time of your page because it has to load the code library as well as your code. So it ends up with a bloated, slow web page. You might have to rely on someone else to update or fix your code in the future. And possibly they might charge you, or they might make you reference the fact that they've written part of this code, so it might lead to court cases if you end up selling your code in the future. So there might be copyright or patent implications in the future. So any 2 advantages, any 2 disadvantages. Gets you your 2 marks.